Have you ever looked at those celebrities and you're just like, how are their teeth so damn pretty? You know why their teeth are so pretty? Because they probably have veneers or crowns or something like that on their front teeth. So let me talk to you about dental veneers. Are they good? Are they good for you? How much they cost? Where you should go to get them? All things dental veneers. Are you searching for the pretty smile? You don't want to waste your time with Invisalign or braces, which is probably a good option potentially, but you want something done very quick, then veneers or crowns may be your best option. Let us talk to you about all things dental veneers and how we can help you get your beautiful smile. So what the heck is a dental veneer? A dental veneer is basically just a piece of thin porcelain that is put right on your tooth. Very thin, like a millimeter or two of thickness, that is put on the front of your tooth. Let me walk you through the steps of how it works at our office. Each office is slightly different, but how it works in general at our office. So you will come in, you're gonna get your x-rays, you're gonna get your pictures taken, you're gonna talk to the dentist, make sure you guys are on the same page. Maybe you'll come in with some pictures so you can show the dentist exactly what you're looking for. And they're gonna go, yes, cool, this is something that we can work with. And they're gonna take an impression. They're gonna send it off to the lab and the lab is gonna come back with a wax up, we call it. And a wax up, all it is basically a mock-up of what your teeth are gonna look like in the future. So you're gonna talk to the dentist, so you're gonna say, oh, this tooth looks great, everything looks good. I want this slightly modified or this slightly modified. And then they're maybe send it back, you come back, and they're gonna go back and forth until you're happy with how that mock-up looks like. Once you're happy with how that mock-up looks like, the dentist knows exactly how much tooth structure to shave down, because you have to think about it. If I just went and stuck some porcelain on your tooth, that tooth now is gonna be quite a bit thicker. Some cases that's okay. Majority of cases, it does not look okay. That means your tooth is gonna be super thick. What the dentist is gonna do, they're gonna shave off a little bit of tooth structure, so when you put on that porcelain veneer, it looks good and the tooth doesn't look so bulky. So let's go back. So you come back, you see the model, you think everything looks great. The dentist goes, cool, I know exactly how much tooth structure to take off. So they'll start preparing. They'll start taking off the tooth structure, making sure everything looks nice and pretty. And when you leave that visit, they're gonna give you a temporary look. So when the dentist prepares your teeth, they're gonna have this mold and they're gonna give you temporary veneers before you leave. So these temporary veneers are gonna look okay, but they're not gonna look absolutely amazing. They're gonna look great. But then you're gonna come back in a couple weeks and you're gonna get the final restorations. And you're gonna check them out. They're gonna put them in your mouth, make sure you like them, and then they're gonna cement them. So that is why veneers, the whole veneer process takes longer than say crowns process, right? Because crowns, you come in, you go, cool, there's a cavity or something we need to fix. They prepare the tooth. 2 weeks later, you come in, boom, crown's done, and that's it. Veneers in general requires at least 1, maybe 2 extra visits, right? Because you come on in, you talk to the dentist, get everything kind of figured out. They're gonna take an impression, boom, the next visit, you come back, you're gonna get those fake looking teeth. You're gonna say, hey, does this look good? Does this not look good? That's wax up, does it look good? And then they can start preparing the tooth if everything looks good at that visit. Then the visit after that is when you get the final veneers. And potentially there's gonna be a couple more visits in between there. You know, if you don't like how that wax up looks, you may have to go back and forth a little bit to make sure it's something you like before you get the final restoration. Because the thing you do not want to do is wait to the very end and as they're cementing it, be like, oh, that tooth is way too big or too round, or man, that color is way off. You do not want to do that because that's just going to delay everything. And that's why we're trying to have all these steps in between. All right, who's a good candidate for veneers? Who's a bad candidate for veneers? A good candidate would be somebody who has maybe a fractured teeth, discolored teeth. You know, they just want to improve the aesthetics. Ideally, the teeth are relatively straight, not super duper crowded, because if they're really crowded, it's very tough to make some veneers without just taking a ton of tooth structure off. So those would be some good candidates for veneers. Bad candidates would be somebody who has a very crowded mouth, like I just mentioned, because it's just really hard to make those teeth nice and straight, nice and pretty with veneers, because you just have to take off too much tooth structure and it damages the teeth too much. Somebody who has untreated decay. Remember, veneers are not to prevent decay. They are just a cosmetic thing. So if you have decay all over the place, you're not a good candidate for veneers. If you have lots of bone loss, probably not a good candidate for veneers, because you have to make the teeth super duper long. So those are the main reasons you would not want to get veneers. So if you have good healthy teeth, you just want them aesthetically a little bit better, boom, veneers are great. If you do not have very healthy teeth, maybe some bone loss, other issues, you probably do not want to get veneers. All right, so now you know the process of veneers, you know who is a good candidate, who's a bad candidate. So you're like, hey, Dr. Nate, how much is this gonna cost me? Okay, veneers in general have zero coverage for your insurance. So do not expect insurance to pay basically anything unless it's a miracle. Insurance is not going to really pay much of anything. So you're probably looking to spend anywhere between $900 to $2,000 per tooth. So you're gonna have to spend a good amount of money in order to make these things nice and pretty. Most of the time, you don't just do one tooth. You know, if you want your smile to look nice and pretty, you're likely gonna do the front 4, maybe front 6, maybe front 8. You may wanna do the bottom. So you're looking at spending a good amount of money. On average, and this is gonna be average, just think about spending roughly $1,000 per tooth. And you're like, why the heck is it so expensive? There's a lot of reasons. Number one, lots more visits. You know, there's gonna be a lot of visits going back and forth. The lab you have to use has to be top notch because you do not want to spend money and have just a mediocre lab, a mediocre result, because this is what you're going to show everybody. Remember, if your teeth are nice and pretty, the world views you differently, so you definitely want to make sure you're spending a good amount to make these teeth look as beautiful as they possibly can look, and as long as it's within your price range. What are the pros and cons of veneers? Well, the pros, obviously, it looks nice and pretty. If you have some deep stainings that whitening just can't fix, it's gonna make those look nice and pretty. If you have chips, it's gonna look nice and pretty. There's a lot of aesthetic reasons that veneers are absolutely worth it. A big pro. Big con is that it is very expensive. Also, veneers do not last forever. Anything we put in our mouth, it does not last forever. Maybe it's gonna last 10 years, maybe 15 years, maybe 7 years. You don't really know until you actually get those veneers. The other thing is if you grind at night, there's a chance that those may come off. So if you do that, make sure you're getting a night guard at night so those things do not come off. The other big con is that insurance probably won't pay anything for it. So it's expensive, insurance doesn't pay for it, but it looks nice and pretty. It looks so pretty.
Pretty.
In conclusion, are dental veneers worth it? Well, it really depends. You know, if you want to spend the money on the beautiful, pretty smile, I think it's definitely worth it. In my personal opinion, I like to get those teeth nice and straight, nice and pretty, obviously cavity free, whiten them, and then see if that's something you want to do, because nothing is as good as your natural teeth. If you have nice shaped teeth, but they just look kind of crooked or kind of gross, why don't you just straighten them? Maybe Invisalign, maybe clear braces if you want to do something aesthetic. Anything to keep those natural, beautiful teeth. You get those things straight, you get the teeth nice and white, then boom, that might be all you need. And then you're gonna save more money, and then it's just gonna be more better in the long run. So I think you have to kind of view that and make sure it's good for you. You know how much veneers are gonna cost, you know who's a good candidate, who's a bad candidate, you know why it costs so much. So are dental veneers a good option for you? Only you will know. But if you want another opinion, come on in and we can help you out. We will guide you through the process. We'll let you know if we think it is a good idea, if it's a bad idea. Maybe you should do Invisalign or something first so you can kind of weigh out your options. All right, guys, so it's Dr. Nate again. I hope I gave you some knowledge on dental veneers. Remember, I'm putting out videos every single week and I'm answering all your questions below. So please also subscribe and I will see you in the next video.